My sister got me kicked out as a teen and now wants me to pay her $120,000 debt after failing as an actress. I, male 25, and my sister, female 29, have never been close. When I was born, I think my parents focused on me a lot during the early years, and this caused my sister to feel left out until I was about 7 or 8, when she had a nervous breakdown in school and basically trashed her classroom as a way of letting out her frustrations. Since then, my parents began to focus on my sister a lot more than me, and I was basically told not to do anything that would make her feel left out again. Obviously, I don't think it was right of my parents to drop focus on their first kid to take care of a new baby, but I don't think the way they went about fixing it was right either. Anytime I won a competition or made something cool, I was a state-level swimmer and drew well, she was right there to take over the spotlight. My parents were always on eggshells around her and never congratulated me for the things I did. On the other hand, they were always ready to celebrate my sister's achievements, even if they weren't that big. Like, if she was in the top 30% in class, they'd take her out for dinner, but barely bat an eye if I got straight A's and topped the class. In my sophomore year of high school, I won a state-level swimming competition and was commended by my school. Like, nothing much, but the principal had a little ceremony in the gym and people knew me as the swimmer guy, which made me popular. During this time, my sister was kind of a mix between a party girl and a shut-in. It's tough to explain, but she was desperate to fit into the crowd and would try to go to every single house party and get herself invited everywhere. However, she never really had any close friends and wasn't the first person anyone ever thought of for anything. I'm not just saying this in a judgy way or assuming stuff, though, because she used to complain about this a lot during family dinners and time together. It would always be stuff like X had a sleepover and didn't even think to invite me even though I get it to a point, but she made herself into this victim even though people didn't dislike her or shun her. Back to the swimming competition fiasco though. After this change, I guess my sister blew up at our parents one night. She brought up the breakdown from before and rehashed things all over again. Basically, she began to blame our parents for letting it happen and making her feel depressed. Like? What does it even mean? Were mom and dad just supposed to stop me from being good at something? I still don't get it even when I look back on it to this day. Anyways, whatever she said seemed to have made my parents worried about her having another breakdown, and they told me to stop being great at anything. I still remember my dad saying, "You don't need the awards to be happy. Original poster, I know you're talented, but you don't need to rub it in your sister's face." Like, I never did things to rub it in my sister's face, I did them because I enjoyed them. So, when my parents sat me down and ordered me to stop being talented, I also blew a fuse. I told them I wasn't going to make myself worse just to make my sister feel better. Of course, they weren't going to back down and said that if I wasn't going to live by their rules, I wasn't welcome in their house. Long story short, I ended up going low contact with them and moving in with an uncle of mine who lived nearby and was sympathetic to my situation. I was hurt by this, but I had to think rationally and decide what mattered more to me, my future prospects or this toxic family dynamic. For the 3 years after this, I was finally exposed to an environment where I could be driven forward and celebrated by a parent figure. My uncle was a war vet who had a low tolerance for bullcrap. So when I packed my bags and went over to his house, he called my parents and cussed my parents out for driving me to this. It was the first time someone had been on my side on the me versus sis battle. I had always been close to him since I was a child, but this was something that gave him so much respect in my eyes. Everyone had always told me that my sister was sensitive and I should just suck it up. He was the first to let me know what I was worth. During all of this, my parents essentially gave up on trying to make me live with their demands, and just focused on raising their daughter. Around the age of 17 or so, my uncle ended up asking for my legal custody and my parents were happy to oblige. That final step ended up helping me get even further with my talents, and I ended up getting into an Ivy League college with a scholarship. I was no longer thinking about what I could have done differently, and at this point I just treated my parents with cordiality, basically going low contact. I excelled in academics, and I also got bit by the entrepreneurial bug, so I decided to start my design agency. It ended up taking off, and I moved to Los Angeles to live my life the way I wanted to. Now, I'm 25 and running a successful design agency. I've gotten awards in the industry, and there's nowhere to go but up for me and my team. My sister, on the other hand, is still somewhere in our home state and is bouncing between jobs. She tried to become an influencer and failed. She then went into some MLM cosmetic schemes. Right now she's working in a mall as a retail worker. I'm not judging her for her profession, but it's crazy to me that she had me kicked out of the nest, had all the love and support from our parents, and ended up in a rut like this. I only know of her from our extended family, and she's never bothered reaching out to me. A few weeks ago though, she reached out to me on Instagram and said that she was in Los Angeles and wanted to meet up. I was shocked, but also curious, so I decided I might as well see what she's been up to. So, cut to 2 days ago, when I met up with my sister. She told me, surprisingly, that she's been in Los Angeles for the last 6 months, and has been trying to make it as an actress. She's been very naive about how it works, and hasn't put in the work, got an agent, or done small gigs like everyone else who wants to make it big. I guess she thought that she's gonna get noticed by Spielberg at the temp job she's working at or something. After this life update, sis drops a bomb on me that she's run $120,000 into debt through this whole escapade, and was expecting me to help her out since I'd made it big. I wasn't exactly elated to hear about her reason for meeting up, and I'm pretty sure I let it show on my face. Seeing that, my sister told me that I needed to help her out because we're family and that's what counts. I went off on her after that, because she sure didn't give a about us being family when she strong-armed my parents into creating an environment so toxic that I left. I told her that she wasn't worth my time, let alone my money, and she should go straight back to mom and dad and ask them since she was hell-bent on keeping them for herself anyways. After this, I was emotional and a lot of repressed feelings came back to me. I messaged my dad on Facebook and told him about my sister's debt, and that he's going to reap what he sows. I ended up cooling down a bit, and I feel like I could have at least been less aggressive with my parents because, in a way, they're also victims of my sister's behavior patterns. So, am I the a-hole for the way I told my sister to F off, and then probably made my parents aware of her financial situation for the first time through the Facebook message? Update, I called my uncle and asked him for some advice as well. He laughed about how stupid sis is, and then told me that I have my backbone, so I could reject paying off her debts without a guilty conscience. Thank you for all the comments, I'm not going to worry about it anymore. Sister also texted me that she was leaving Los Angeles because it was too expensive, and to presumably live rent-free with my parents. I am, however, going to get my uncle a brand new Ford Bronco after my next project finishes. I think he deserves it a lot more than my sister deserves the money lol. Update 2, okay, so it seems that my parents had co-signed the credit card my sister had, so they're in deep anyways. I got a call from my mom in tears telling me about it. I didn't stand down though, but I did comfort her and told her that it won't be a life-destroying thing. My parents have a lot of savings, but that'll definitely not be an insignificant amount. Update 3, this incident seemed to have made my parents realize how badly they'd wronged me because both reached out to me with a sincere apology and told me that they were not enabling my sister's behavior anymore. I'm not gonna lie, it did feel nice, but I'm not ready to forgive them just yet. I told them that I'll come by one day and speak to them, and we can move forward from there. I think my parents did end up paying my sister's debt off, but they've cut her off now, so she's either got to get her life together or be homeless. Also, I was right, she did try and move back in with them, haha. But thankfully they didn't let that slide.
I, a 43 female, have 2 teenage daughters, Molly, 16 female, and Ella, 14 female.
My daughter Molly is very athletic, and is at a regular healthy weight. My daughter Ella on the other hand is quite overweight, not so much so that it stops her from living life but enough that we were encouraged to help her lose weight by her physician at her last appointment, which we have been helping her do. Recently Ella has been very jealous of Molly because her sister does not need to go on the same diets. She has been treating Ella very unfairly, and calling her all sorts of names like anorexic and skeleton, as well as complaining that we are punishing her for having a different metabolism when really Ella has always had a very unhealthy diet, whereas Molly tends to eat very healthy. We have been punishing her for her treatment towards Molly by taking her phone, and her Xbox, but she always ends up doing it again even after we give it back. Today this is when it hit its the worst point. Molly has grown since last winter and so she needs new jumpers, which we were going to buy on the weekend, but during the week when looking in Ella's closet, I noticed some of the clothes she had put to the side to be donated as they did not fit looked like they may fit Molly, including one of the jumpers. I washed the jumper and asked Molly if she would be okay with wearing the jumper to stay warm until the weekend. She said yes and that she would prefer it to her old ones as they were not big enough to cover her completely in the winter. When Ella got in she completely lost it, and I came into her arguing with her sister. When I came in Ella was grabbing at the jumper trying to pull it of her sister. I broke it up and asked Molly to go upstairs so I could try and talk to her sister and figure out what was wrong. She said it was because Molly was wearing her jumper. I asked if she wanted to keep the jumper, and Ella said no, she wanted to throw it away because it was not comfortable anymore, but that she did not want her sister to have it. I said okay, but her sister would still wear it for a few days until the weekend to keep warm. She then got very angry and said we wanted to make her insecure and that Molly does not deserve new jumpers. I explained that Molly would keep the jumper, and she went to her room refusing to talk to me. This morning Molly called me to her room, There was fabric all over the floor where Ella had cut the jumper up. I grounded Ella and told her I have had enough of her jealousy, to which she called me an a-hole, in ruder terms. I have been thinking, and I wonder now, am I the a-hole? Edit. Many have been saying that Ella needs therapy. Ella has been in counseling for some time. Sorry, I thought I included it, but clearly not. I, 35 female, am going to be on call over the holidays, and I agreed to do so months ago since I don't really celebrate Christmas. I consulted my wife, 32 female, before taking this on, and while she didn't love it, she agreed. Her family, who have been absent from her life for the past 10 years since she decided to marry a woman, have contacted her through her cousin to invite us over for the holidays. I have never met them. The invite came through her mother. Her father has been diagnosed with lung cancer, and currently is in a very bad shape since he had a stroke recently. My wife is rather keen to take this opportunity to see her family and father in what they've told her is the final weeks of his life. She really wanted me to accompany her, but I'm a neurologist and I'm going to be on call a lot, so there's no way I can do that. She wants to take our kids, 6 male and 5 female, with her so they can meet her parents and reconcile over this whole issue. I'm concerned the environment around her parents' house is the same toxic one that she described before and can potentially hurt our kids, so I told her that while I respect her wishes to see her father, I don't think kids should be there. At least not right now. Maybe after she had a chance to see them and determine if they're accepting enough of our family to bring our kids into the picture. She got pretty mad, teary-eyed, and said I am being unnecessarily pessimistic about this and that they wouldn't even invite her if they wanted to behave like before, and that I should have some faith and stop acting like this. She said she expected me to be there with her, but I'm suffocating myself with my job. She currently has set her mind that she and the kids are leaving together. I'm trying to at least talk to her and be by her side at this difficult time. She's basically too mad at me and won't talk to me, which is a very rare occurrence in our marriage. This is an updated version of the previous post I made. I couldn't update the original post, so I reposted it. Am I the a-hole here?